I want to briefly mention the 8 values that build trust. These are 8 behaviors that must be practiced regularly by each team member for high trust to be present, which is an absolutely essential ingredient for great teamwork. The reason I have a piggy bank on here is to remind each person that every time you neglect to live by any of these values, you make an emotional withdrawal, which weakens your team. What's equally true is that every time you choose to operate by these values, you're making emotional deposits, strengthening your relationships, and also strengthening your team. The 8 values that build trust are not just behaviors to recognize and differentiate between, which in itself provides a lot of clarity and focus. They're more than that. They're a powerful emotional intelligence tool because you're using all 4 of your emotional intelligence competencies. By using this chart, you're being self-aware, socially aware, managing yourself, and managing the relationship when you implement the use of this tool. We use this chart frequently in mentoring and in interventions as an implementation for how to recognize, course correct, and resolve any challenges within any relationships. Any relationship that's not a 10, which means it's in very good working order when it's a 10, should be worked upon until it is a 10. That's what it means on the culture model that showed the little house, where trustworthiness is the foundation. When you've prioritized trustworthiness in relationships, you regularly assess your relationships and repair any damage along the way. It's incredibly powerful. There's no relationship challenge that does not involve either a neglect or a violation of one or more of these 8 values on both sides of the relationship. The way this tool is implemented is to first recognize how challenged is the trust in the first place. If the relationship is deemed a 9, it's very different than if it's deemed a 1 or a 2, which means a lot of these behaviors would be violated and or neglected on both sides. It's very enlightening just to ask, what number do I give this relationship? What it means is, where is this relationship in this moment? So you can begin by reviewing the trust behaviors within that particular relationship dynamic. If you're honest with yourself, you're going to record issues on your part of the table and theirs. Sometimes people say, well, no relationship is ever a 10. And I want you to know that, yes, relationships can be a 10. A 10 just means that in that present moment with this particular person, I have no unresolved challenges. You'll have more 10 relationships the better you maintain your relationships, and by maintaining them sooner rather than later. Once you've filled out this table and this tool, you're then able to apply other tools to correct the challenges related to these trust behaviors.
I like how in Lifeworks we break it down into what it actually means, and that we get very specific information on how to show up as trustworthy. Because if we don't have the same definition, then we can't get anything done. So it really, really helps to all be speaking the same thing. And we go over those 8 values that build trust over and over whenever we talk about Lifework. So it hammers in. And I just naturally talk to other friends and say, oh, where are you not being this, or where are you not being that? Or I talked to somebody today and said, oh, that was so nice. He was so straightforward in disclosing. And it gives everybody hopefully a sense of what trustworthiness really means. I don't just accept that, oh, that's just the way this person is, or that's just the relationship, or we just don't get along well. I can go further than that now because I know it's totally possible for anybody to have trust. And I know, you know how there's diagnostics, like somebody asked about the symptoms? Because I know the 8 values that build trust, I know what symptom is being shown, and I know what the treatment is to address it. It's a lot different than just having a vague sense of I'm not getting along well, or or assigning them some kind of motive that might not be true. They might be acting that way because I'm not showing up in some way, or they might not know that I want something for more trust. So having that spelled out gives a lot more distinct actions that I can take to build it up again. So I do know immediately when it's not working, and I see it everywhere now, and I can make it better.